Hey guys, welcome back to the Small Town Cook channel. I'm your host, Kevin Dobson, and today we're doing herb crusted salmon and baked rice with spices, some yogurt, and pickled onion. This is all in the oven, guys, so you can get off and do whatever you need to do. Quick and easy and ready to eat within half an hour. All right, first off guys, we want to get the rice going. So I need a pan on to maybe a medium to low heat. I want to toast up some spices and get some shallots going. This is going to start our base for our baked rice. So shallots, I'm using probably 2 in this recipe here. This is going to serve about 3 people. So hopefully you, your missus, and your new friend, or maybe her friend, who knows. Why we toast the spices is just to get that initial flavor out. If I chuck the spices straight into the pan, it's just, you're gonna get some, but it's not gonna be immediate, you know, and you're not gonna get that depth of flavor that you want, you know. When we build flavor, we're always talking about levels, like a staircase almost. So this is our base of our flavor. So just peeling out this, I just top and bottom the shallots and then just peel off that first layer. All right, and before we start slicing those, in a dry pan with no oil, let's just put our cumin seeds in there already. I want about a teaspoon, just over a teaspoon maybe, and just get those going. There should just be a low heat. No need to go really fast with it, just nice and slow, just while you cut your onion, okay? And while you're standing here, you can smell that kind of going for it. Now with the onion, I go from top to bottom and then just slice over this way. Just making sure you keep your finger, that main index finger, and everything else behind it. And just lean on that with the knife. I know I make it look easy, so just take your time with this, nice and slow. All right, get your face in that pan, give them a smell. If they don't smell so fragrant yet, just give it some time. Here we go, you can start seeing the whisper of smoke as it comes up. Now we want to put a glug of olive oil in here, a good glug. And we'll turn up the heat just a little bit there. And in with our shallots. Just kind of run your hands through them as you put them into the pan just to break them up a little bit. Toss that all around. Grab a wooden spoon and just start sauteing those down. Now for the rice, because we're putting it in the oven with like a baking dish, you can use a pot or a pan that's either way if you want to put it in. I've got a wee small rice dish here. And I'm going to put 1 cup of basmati rice in there. You can use jasmine rice, basmati, and then I normally do 2 cups of boiling water. And that will go into the oven once I've wrapped that up nice and tight to keep all of that moisture in there for 20 minutes. So the rice is the first thing to go into the oven. So don't even worry about the salmon yet. You can start smelling that sweetness from these buttery shallots. Also, you can use normal onions in here if you don't have shallots. I just like the butteriness from the shallots that it gives to the rice. If you want, go ahead and chuck your rice in. Just get it done, you know. Once those have softened up a wee bit, the onion, plus they're gonna go into the oven for about 20 minutes. So they'll be nicely cooked all the way through. You just want to release that, a little bit of that rawness, I guess. Now also to add some color and just like a little bit more flavor, we're going to put a teaspoon of turmeric in here. And that's going to look nice and bright and also a little bit of flavor. You can just toast that off now with the rice and the onions. No need to add any more oil. And you can really start to smell the turmeric, the cumin. Lovely. All right, let's put that salt in. About a teaspoon. Just to season the rice already. It's never anything worse when you take the rice out of the oven and you forgot to season it, and then you have to do it when it's cooked, and it's annoying seasoning the rice once it's cooked, especially dishes like this, you know. So once we've got that all nicely colored up, we can put that and turn into our baking tray. Take all that rice out, turn that heat off. All right, now I want 2 cups of boiling water in here. So kind of preamp that and get the boiling jug going. you know. Jugs are so helpful in the kitchen. 1, 2. A good rule of thumb, even if, when you're doing this on the stove top, is if you would put your finger in that boiling water, touch that rice, you want it just to come up past your nail. And that should be the perfect amount of water to go in there. I'm just going to go up and over with this one, all the way around it, coming back down to make sure I've got a nice tight seal in there. All right guys, once that's all rolled up, nice and tight, and I went underneath the bottom, that just helps keeping all that steam in there. That's what you need to do, is keep that steam in there. And just pop that into an oven at about 180 for about 20 minutes, okay? Right, next off, we've got to start the salmon. Let's just have a little bit of a tidy up first. Please, just put your things away. A clean cook is a good cook. A nice organized cook is a fast cook, okay? Now for our salmon, we're gonna toast exactly the same spices, and I'm gonna use exactly the same pan because there's no point making dishes, is there? When I say exactly the same, a little bit different. Teaspoon of fennel seeds for some aniseed. Salmon and fennel really, really love each other. Teaspoon of cumin seeds as well to go in there. And I also like putting a tiny bit of black pepper in here, just instead of using the milled stuff. Just maybe, for the amount of salmon we're doing, probably about 6 corns. Also guys, don't forget to set your timer, okay? Even the best cooks forget the things that they've put in the oven. I don't care what's going on, just make sure you set that bad boy up. All right, done. All right, now the salmon, okay? So we're gonna start with the herb crust. We've got our spices in our pan already. We want a tray lined with baking paper. The salmon's probably about 600 grams, 700 grams. This is definitely enough for 3 people. 2 hungry hippos, but definitely enough for 3. Now we need to get a little bit of almost a paste on there to let the herbs and everything stick to. So I like using Dijon mustard in this recipe. If you haven't got a paintbrush, just like slap it on there with a spoon, you know? I just use the paintbrush because I've always got one. They're a good thing to have in the galley, or the kitchen, sorry. So just putting that on there, and you're already starting to season the salmon. All right, now we want to chop up some fresh herbs. These fresh herbs I'm using are chives, bit of onion-like, I guess you'd like to say. Some parsley. Bunch like this, I guess. You don't have to get all the stalks out, but don't use the woody stalks in this. But the thinner stalks, they're fine to eat. And I also like to use a little bit of dill. All right guys, so with these herbs, I mean, you want something fine, but you don't want, you know, you want a nice crust over it. You don't want really chunky veg. It's gonna look cooler as well. Once those spices are toasted, again, really low with the pan so you're not stressing about them burning. You just wanna heat them up just to get those oils and everything and those spices, you know, perfumed. I just chuck them straight into my flavor maker here, and I can deal with those after I've chopped these herbs. With these things, I kind of just tear them and just put them all into one big bunch like that and into your hand. You know, if haven't got a very good knife skill, just make a big condensed ball, okay? And try to hold that ball as best you can, and then just start running your knife. You should have a nice sharp knife, and it will just ease your way through these herbs instead of dealing with them when they're all like open and leafy, you know? So chopping them once, and then, okay, I'm gonna roll back through that one more time. Okay, and that's it. And then I've got these here. I'm just gonna put a wee teaspoon of sumac. Now sumac is an Egyptian spice, quite lemony. So just a little bit of that in there. If you've got some, if you don't, no problem. Just use grated lemon, which I'm also going to do as well. Just get those fragrant, you just roll the pestle around the mortar and they just break up. Don't be scared about leaving these a little bit chunky for texture. Chuck your herbs straight in there. and then just some lemon zest. Try not to drop your zester, and then just grating this off. Also really good tool to have in the kitchen, these zesters. Or you can just use a box grater. I just like being able to go around the lemon like this, bits and pieces. All right, and then we're just gonna put a pinch of salt in there as well. And just give that a good mix up. Lovely. And here you've probably got about half a cup of crumb. Now I just sprinkle that all over the salmon. You can do it from a high, and that will get you more even coverage. I love this on this. It's just, you are making a crust. Don't put a thin layer of it on. Nice and thick, lay it on there. You're really flavoring up that salmon. Also guys, I forgot to mention, just make sure that that is pin bone, that all the bones are out of that thing. You can do that by just running your hand just across the salmon there, and you can make, you'll feel them if there are any. Just get a pair of tweezers or whatever you want to use. Your nose hair tweezers, probably not the most hygienic, but they'll do the trick. Now, we got to look at our timer. I got just on 10, I'm a bit quick. I've still got about 2 minutes until I go in there. But then this can go bang in the oven. I'd put this one in for about 10 minutes on the same temperature, and then they both can come out together. All right guys, now we're halfway through the cooking process for the rice, so this bad boy can go in. I'd give it about 10 minutes. So when that timer goes off, both items are gonna be ready. This is super easy, guys. Okay guys, now for the pickled onion, one medium-sized onion. Now, this pickled onion for this dish is just gonna give it another kind of flavor. You've got the baked rice, all the spices through it, and then a nice herb crust, which that salmon will be a nice medium rare. This pickled onion just kind of balances it off and gives it something else. It's always really nice to have a few pickles on your plate when you're eating dinner. I wanna keep this onion whole, so I'm just gonna run my knife down the side of this, peeling back that first layer. And this is a very quick pickle. You know, when you think of pickles, people think of these brines and these massive things that take 6 months, but you know, this is super quick. This is gonna be ready within 2 minutes. Get your handy mandolin if you've got one. Otherwise, you can cut this in half, lay it down and slice it up, whatever you want. I just like the rounds of it. Check your consistency there, yeah, that's perfect. And just watch your hands, keeping your hands flat. Please watch your fingers, I mean. Just place that into a bowl with some salt. Salt's gonna help it break it down. Also, it's gonna season it up. A little teaspoon of sugar. That just balances out, I guess, the saltiness a little bit, and the vinegar as well. Give this, when you've got these dry ingredients in here, just give these a good massage. When you massage that, it kind of brings out the juices of the onion and sweetens them up. The salt, like I said, is gonna soften that onion up so it's not gonna be so raw and, you know, harsh in your mouth. So about 20-30 seconds, and you start feeling it go almost a little bit slimy. Slimy is probably not the best word to use, but you know, that's the texture you feel when you're massaging the onion like that. Now, we just wanna go on with some red wine vinegar. Maybe about a tablespoon. You want to go more, go more. It all depends up to you. I kind of do a tablespoon. You can go a little bit more if you want. You don't have to use red wine vinegar. You can use white wine vinegar. You can use whatever vinegar you want to kind of pickle that up. I use the red wine vinegar because I like the flavor. You can use sherry, whatever. And also, we want to get a bowl of yogurt. Now, the yogurt for this is just the creamy element, and it just brings it all together, kind of thing. It says hello to the salmon, the spiced rice, and the onion. It just works, you know, and I think you know that it works. Get the yogurt, natural yogurt, whatever. I know you've got it in your fridge, you should. that we mix up, and just straight in there, guys. We don't need to fuss around with everything having flavor. There's already such big flavors in the rice and the salmon that these two things just being pretty basic like this is, super, super tasty. All right, guys, 1 pomegranate for the garnish. So just cut this in half. You got a wee bowl here to put the seeds in. Grab anything that's a good spanker, wooden spoon, metal spoon, whatever. I just use a normal tablespoon. Now keep your hands whole when you do this. And I just like to kind of let the seeds drop through as I kind of just give it a smack on the bottom. And just keep smacking away. Smack it away. And when you're like, maybe you feel probably, a few seeds run through, just have a look in the bowl, making sure none of that white pith has went in there. Because the white pith is really bitter when you eat it, and it's not tasty and it doesn't look pretty. I'm having quite good luck with this one. These seeds are looking beautiful. I don't need that much, so I'm just gonna save the rest of that for later on. For a juice or something, let's do some picked mint on this as well. Mint, spices, yogurt, pomegranate. Oh, it all really works, And this is we're only using a few ingredients here. So simple to whip up, guys. The lemon that I zested earlier, I'm just gonna take the cheeks off that. That's always a nice way to present a lemon, is just cheeking it like that. So I take the lemon like that and I just slice one side of it. Now you ask what I do with the middle of it. Normally this always goes over the salmon. I just give it a wee squeeze, a little bit of olive oil, lemon's good like that. Okay, so we got everything out. We're gonna get our plates out, ready to go. You can do some dishes at this point, because we all know you got probably a dirty kitchen now. Not too dirty though, these pans as well. Just good pans like this just need like a dry cloth to wipe them out. Don't think that needs to have a hot scrub now on it, please. If it had the turmeric in the pan, maybe give it a little rinse out and just dry it out with a paper towel. Don't always need to use harsh soaps on our really good, expensive, good pans. You can serve this on whatever you feel like. You can just put it on a main plate. You can just chop it up and put it onto plates, whatever you want to do. I like serving the rice in the dish that I've made it, because it just saves me here in the kitchen doing the dishes. Especially we know the ones that are eating this dish are the ones that are doing the dishes. So, you can choose whether you want to kind of hate them or love them. Beautiful, timer is off. Always saves you. Now, if you can, pick up a couple of these cheap mats. They're really, really cheap. It's just, but they save your tables and your bench tops. So when this kind of stuff comes out, okay, so your rice is out, your salmon's out, it's all ready to go. You've plated it up, it's lovely. I always let my baked rices sit on the bench top like this for maybe a couple of minutes. Just let it kind of chill out. If you really want, you can kind of just put a little poke in it and let some of that steam kind of come out, because you don't want to open it and just gives you a steam burn. Now, if you look at the salmon, it just, it's so tasty and smells so good. Now, these white protein bits that you see is when that white comes out of the salmon, that's when you can kind of tell it's cooked. Now this is definitely in the middle, like a piece of steak, gonna be a little bit medium rare. And as you kind of come around the outside of the salmon, it's gonna be a lot more well done. Not a lot more, but more. Please, as well, I forgot to mention, when you are cooking salmon like this, make sure you bring it out of the fridge a good, 10, 15 minutes if you can. But if you're in a rush, just like I am, then just get it in there, okay? Okay, cool, guys. Now that's sat for a couple of minutes, plating up. We're just gonna land the salmon beautifully. I've still left the skin and everything on this, because to be honest, it's just gonna come off when you go to eat it. All right, guys, so a couple of minutes rest, taking that tin foil off. Make sure when you take it off, away from you, and rip it open so that steam kind of comes out. Look at that. Yum-y. That smells so good. All right, now get your knife in there, or your spoon, or whatever you're holding in there, and kind of tease it up a little bit. Yum, 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 yum. Pomegranate seeds, just spread those over. The yellow and the red, it just, A few mint bits on there, if you would. All right, if you want a little glug of olive oil, but to be honest, I feel like it doesn't need it. And this is fit for at least 2 or 3 people, guys. You could put a nice spinach salad with this if you wanted to. Just even some fresh leaves might be quite nice. Yeah, enjoy. Hey guys, that's all from me here at the Small Town Cook Kitchen. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification so you know what I'm up to during the week, and please follow me on Instagram and let me know how you went with this dish. Upload photos, hashtag SmallTownKitchenNZ. Thank you very much.